welcome to Portman Road. This sound indicates an important announcement.
Hello again, my friends, and welcome back to a Thursday night preview show with me, the host, the governor, ahead of another big weekend in the Ipswich Town world. It's been Bizarro World this week. It truly has. So we're here to unpack it all and lead us into another mouth-watering weekend. I'm joined by two wonderful people. First of all, and most importantly, hopefully joined by you beautiful people at home. Stuart's in the chat. Welcome in, Stuart. I hope you're feeling okay after your COVID jab. Josh Russell, welcome in. Cruncher's here, welcome in. Luke's in the building. Andy, welcome in. Tom Page, absolutely welcome to you. Tom, who else we got? Stephen Parry, Beep Man, the Talking Town version of Jimmy Bullard. We welcome, we salute you, my friend. I hope you are well. As always, we want to hear from you guys this evening, and girls, of course. Get yourselves active in the chat. We have got the Lambert wheel of how am I still in a job? We shall call it this week. He's been a busy boy this week as Mr. Paul Lambert. The media whistle-stop tour. He was everywhere. Man, it didn't do media. Has suddenly gone everywhere. That's what we think of Paul Lambert, right, Toby? It really is. As always, I am joined by two wonderful people. First and foremost, it is the Fisherman.
No. Pretty Caroline. Stone cold stunner. She was a winner, started working at the dime. Serves this up her mind to count your blessings, cause it's telling fair. Put you down and leave you there, don't make them scared. Yeah, it's the ugly truth. How they come and for you.
I don't know what to say on that, really, other than
I made that intro and it just shocked me. I went to speak and suddenly Rich and Matt were sat there. I was like, fun life, that. How are you? You all right, mate? You all right?
Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, we're good. Mike, you got some wonderful kit this morning. So do please show it off for the wonderful people at home. Mr. Fisherman's been busy in the store.
The merch. I'm waiting for my hoodie to come, but this.
Look at that.
I have to say, I really love the design. The navy. I like navy anyway, but this is beautiful. And then obviously I've got. I don't know if you can see that.
Give me 9 guys, and I'll organise a protest.
Beautiful quality. I was really, I mean, I'm quite fussy with the clothing that I send out through my business, and I have to say this is easily on par. Brilliant stuff.
Good man. Martin, I think the dog just asked you to burn the poster. He's been on at that for a while, to be fair. He wants me to burn the poster. Good evening to all of you in the chat. I'm really pleased you could join us. The will, Emerson Fairweather, is the will working this week? Well, it's a bit like Paul Lambert's management. Make of that what you will. It's not. Someone say it's seen better days. Let's get the third member of our trio into this evening's proceedings. He is, of course, Mr. Ben Adam. Otherwise known to me and you as the Milk Tray Man. Ben, how you doing?
I'm doing very well. I'm just kind of worried what we're going to talk about. What a boring week.
Oh, no. There's been nothing going on at all at Portman Road, is there? Sadly, for some, there hasn't been anything going on at Portman Road. What we wanted anyway hasn't happened.
It's what a strange times. I'm not looking as good as Mike at the moment. I'm wearing black, as I always do, because I'm in mourning every single week.
Why are you in mourning?
The absolute state of our club, Governor. It just is it's like the longest funeral procession I've ever watched.
That's true. Sadly so. But we're here to inject a bit of life and a bit of passion.
Quite right.
Ben, tell the fine folks at home, what is in your oven, my friend?
I've got a chicken in the oven, and I've
Big
timed
bird.
it beautifully. As we're logging off, that chicken will be crisp and moist. It's timed beautifully.
And of course, carrying on our advertising campaign for ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Mike Brown, what have you been eating just before we went live?
Oh, you sod. A McDonald's. Can't be a good McDonald's. Yeah, have a McDonald's. It makes you fat. I mean, really, yeah. No,
I mean, McDonald's doesn't literally do that.
I've had a McDonald's. Yeah. No, hey, look, I've got to say, I had a Grand Mac. Absolutely tasty. Went down a treat.
Chocolate shake. And that's good work, my man. Facebook user, hello, boys.
Got a little bit of me.
You're a growing boy. Get it down here.
Well, you did say that T-shirt had you on a room. So you've decided to fill it out. King Callie, love a good Mackie D's. Luke Penning, KFC all the way. This might be a topic on the wheel coming up one day, I think. Which takeaway is the best? Hello, boys. Hope you're all well. All feels so surreal at the moment. Clubbing crisis, no word from the club. The Cruncher says 17 stone and counting. KFC from Matthew. There we go. Anyway, right. As I said earlier, we do have the wheel. We have a few topics on the wheel from a few of our friends that have been putting it on as it's throw it over Thursday. So that's exciting. The wheel, as I said, it's
God almighty.
Seen better day.
Malware.
It's a representation of our feelings for the club, Ben.
Looks like our formation for the last 3 games.
Right, let's kick things off with this one. So, the Drysdale incident, where he obviously, between him and Alan Judge, this was put on by Curtis on Throw It Over Thursday. Where do you stand? Has it overshadowed things at the club? I've got Curtis here. Curtis, welcome in, my man. Hope you're well.
Oh, Curtis.
All good.
So you wanted to talk about this as part of Throw It Over Thursday. So tell us all what it was that's on your mind, and we'll pull it apart.
I mean, from what I can gather, I mean, even my girlfriend who doesn't watch any sport whatsoever, I had Sky Sports News on the other day. They showed blue action at the gates for a few hours, but yesterday and the day before it was, and I'm not kidding, probably about every 2 minutes they wanted to show that Drysdale incident over and over again, and this is an incident where they kept debating whether do the refs have are they allowed to do this? And I thought the referee's apologised for what he's done. The person in question has come out and said, listen, it didn't matter. We've moved on. So why is this a massive story now? Why does it need to be a massive story? If anything, it's just covering up what the bigger issue is at the club. But for some reason, that just seems the smoke screen has now been put up, and we've suddenly now forgotten about it. TalkSport have gone off it. The little tiny spat on Twitter that's gone. And as you said before, the club absolutely silent. They've made more about that incident than they have about the blue action incident at the training ground. And yet this is an open and shut investigation into the Drysdale incident. So why is that? It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever.
Okay, a few comments before you come in. We'll kick things off with Mike. All about the Blues. Lambert made the most of the incident to hide away from such a poor performance. Cruncher says nothing to see here. And Bruce Eyre, players abuse refs day in, day out. Nothing done about it. Ref finally stands up for himself. All hell breaks loose. Go figure. Where do you stand on it, Mike?
Well, first off, hello, Mum. I know my mum's watching tonight because I sent her the YouTube link. So, hello,
oh, was that actually your mum?
Yes, mate. Yeah.
I nearly banned her. I thought it was a troll. I nearly hit the ban button.
Oh, I'm sending her your address.
When somebody says hello, I'm like, no.
You're going to the under-23s along with Jackson. You're out.
Jackson and Nolan, yeah. I thought it was.
Okay,
I'm so sorry.
I was a referee in youth football for probably a good 12 years in my slightly slimmer days, I might add. For me personally, as a referee, you have to keep it cool. It's very easy to lose it's very easy to go out there when you've got a coach or a referee that's abusing you on the sideline. You know, the coaches, I tend to just walk over to them, and take out my yellow and red card book and a whistle and hand it over and say, look, if you can do a better job, away you go. And 9 times out of 10, they just shut up and that was it. You say to them, look, you know, if I give you a yellow card, it's a £15 fine. You're going to pay it or your mum and dad? And 9 times out of 10, they'll just walk away. Having refereed a couple of adults games is a different thing altogether. You kind of have to just stand your ground. You can't sort of. I think he handled it wrong. I think he's got to take his punishment. I think he handled it wrong as a referee. I think he was too aggressive. I think he's just got to stand there. And as they're coming towards you, take little steps back because although you're standing your ground, you're still saying, look, you ain't going to push me right out of this situation. You know. And the thing is, I have to question that side of it. So if he lost his cool there, did he not then lose his cool with Downs? Maybe under normal circumstances, would he have just given Downs a yellow card? So in that respect, I think the FA, if they've removed him, they've removed him from this week's League Two game. If they've removed him, then maybe they've got to look at the Downs incident and think, well, maybe this referee wasn't in the right frame of mind when, you know, because referees get sworn at all the time. Adult football, that's all it is. Oh, ref, and whatever. But you hear it on the sidelines when you're watching games. You see the referees getting abused, the linos they're used to it, and they've kind of got to be a little bit thick-skinned. And not, you know, it's hard because we get emotional over it. And yes, no referee gets the right decision or 100% right all the time. It's, you know, 90% of the time we try and get the right decisions. But the reality is, I personally think that, you know, the right thing has happened, that he needed to be removed from this weekend's game. He's got to learn from his lesson. He shouldn't have acted. He shouldn't have been as aggressive, coming forward as aggressive as he did. And that's just where I stand on it, really.
Fair enough. Milk Tray Man, what about you? Because you know, it's one of those things. It can
not too far away from what Mike said, and I don't have the experience of refereeing or anything, so I can't really comment from that perspective. But like anything in life, it's balance. I think if you were to mic up football matches like you mic up rugby matches, there'd be a lot less heat on the referee than I think there was. Now that doesn't excuse the behaviour. He goes there to a professional standard. As a referee, you have to have a higher standard than the players. There's less at stake for that human reason. And he made a mistake. But what I did like was Judge's reaction. Now, you know, Judge could have made a massive thing about that, got his name out there, had the whole thing. But he said, you know, heat of the game, it happened, no issues for me, we move on. The referee takes his 1 or 2 match ban. He learns a great thing. I always feel sorry for the guy. It's his 50th birthday today, I think. He's got a great history. He's got a great history of service to the country. So he seems like a good bloke. And I actually thought, to that point, he was a good ref. But he made a mistake, and you have to pay for mistakes in the modern game. But I just hope that the punishment is proportionate to that happening. Because like you said, the Sky News was all over it. It was like the biggest story ever. 10 minutes later, something else came up. So I don't think it was as big. It was just there was nothing else happening. And a referee squared up to a player. But, you know, take your punishment. Great lesson. I hope they don't hold it against him because he's as human as the rest of us.
The issue is, though, when you referee, you can't be a human. You got to be above. You're on a platform. It's the moment you do anything, whether you. The moment you step above.
Look at the. I was watching today. I was watching the playoff semi-final against Bolton. Who was the referee in that match? Remind me.
Oh, I can see him. Mind's eye. Oh yeah, my God!
Yeah, I know. So when they gave the second penalty away against Bolton, he had 9 players jump around him, pushing him backwards, shouting in his ear, and he handled that really well. He stood there with his back up. He stepped away, he stepped back, he stepped back, he stepped back.
Barry Knight.
And all diffused. Yeah, Barry Knight. And he handled that really well. And that was, you know, ultra high, you know, a lot at stake. A full stadium, absolute anger coming from just above you. You've got 9 players around you. But he's a really experienced top level referee at that point. And maybe there was the fact that this guy is not that experienced at that high level. That
and he won't get there, though, will he, doing that sort of thing?
He won't now, no. And that's a shame because players make disgusting tackles all the time and it doesn't affect their career. But there's the argument of, do you hold the referee to a higher standard than the player? Yes, you probably should do. And I accept that. But also, I do believe in a certain amount of forgiveness. And
100%.
I think that he fucked up and he pays his price and he moves on. That's
George says George 03. It's like a policeman. You have to show some responsibility. Jamie Reed, great shirt, Mike. Jamie loves the shirt. Josh Russell, unprofessional from the rep. It has taken the focus of the show performance. It has, but it has because it's not something you see ever, really. And that's why it's the shock factor. And I just think if you'd reverse that and Alan Judge had marched to the referee, because the referee had to approach Alan Judge, because Alan Judge didn't go to the referee and got his head in the referee's face, how long would the ban be for Alan Judge?
Well, I saw Darren. I think it was Darren Ambrose on Twitter yesterday. I saw him say, "Oh, he wouldn't get a massive ban." And I thought, so yes, he would. Like, if you planted your head on a ref, bearing in mind you're not even allowed to put your finger on a ref. If you planted your head on a ref, I refuse to believe, and I've got full respect for Darren Ambrose, but I refuse to believe that he wouldn't be in for whether that be a massive fine and also a ban. I refuse to believe that would be the case.
You're talking months. In my opinion, months. I think
definitely,
because they would say we have to set. Look
at when Paolo Di Canio pushed the ref and he done that well, half fake.
He went down in stages.
Backwards. Yeah, exactly. That was like a whole storybook the way he went down. There was a beginning, a middle, and an end. And all the expiation in the middle, and he got absolutely pilloried for that for months. So yeah, okay, I can see that argument. I can see that.
Do you think it's time the referees were mic'd up?
Nah, we've had that. We did that.
No, you'd never get on telly. You'd never get on telly.
They trialled that in with a referee in I want to say early 90s, but it was Arsenal, and he got dogs abuse. Yeah. He got dogs abuse, and we're talking from England captains even giving him dogs abuse. You know, people you perhaps wouldn't have thought were that sort of way. And since then, they're never going to do it again because just go to your Sunday morning and listen. That's what you hear in a pro game. Like, that human beings are human beings, whether they're pro athletes or not. In fact, the will to win may be even higher in a pro game than a Sunday game. So you're going to get twice as much. And well, you see it with the way certain players crowd the referee. They're not running over going, excuse me, sir. I think you fouled him. Are they?
Yeah.
You know, they're saying barrages of absolute.
And you couldn't even show it on telly. They're not going to come over, thou hast insulted the quality of thine club. I challenge thee, sir, to a duel. No, they're not. They're going out using stuff you'd say on television X. You'd have to show it next to porn because no one would be able to watch it. There's no program on telly that would air a football game if they mic'd up a ref. So we're all left to the interpretation. We all know what they're saying. But do you know what on the other side is there? If a ref can't take it, don't be a ref. There's that side as well.
But that's why there is a shortage of good referees, though, in this country, isn't there? There's a massive shortage. I mean, I know some very good young referees that are coming through the ranks, and one of them's dating my daughter. He's not done anymore, gone any further, but he's done his first level as well. And it's so hard for these young kids because there is so much pressure put on them by not so much the kids playing the game itself, but the parents on the sideline and the coaches are like, you just think to yourself, well, hang on a minute, without a referee, could you play this game without a referee? Because no, you couldn't.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes I've been guilty of it as a coach now. I'm as guilty as anybody when it comes to referee. What the hell did you? And being an ex-referee as well myself, I'm like, oh my days, what was that all about? But you have to sort of just then take a big chunk out your bottom lip and say, hang on a minute, perhaps I didn't see what he see, and that's just
So breaking off the top, just to bring the topic to the close, I've been a bit off topic, maybe, I don't know, but how would you fix the issue? Like, if you were put in charge of the FA, and that was obviously priority number one in your book, how would you go about fixing the issue of dissent towards referees and getting better referees in the game?
You just swore at me, you'd be off.
You'd go medicine first. You'd say
absolutely. If someone, I think the only way to calm these players down, I get their frustration, and there's a lot on stake. There's futures, their futures, the club's futures, relegation, whatever. I get all that, but as soon as you said, if you like a direct swear word, effing, I'm being clean tonight. But
makes a change.
look, if I said to a referee that was fucking disgraceful,
there
that is literally you're swearing at the referee. And in my opinion, if they stop that, gave a red card and got one match ban, I guarantee you now, after one season, players would not swear so much and be so abusive.
Would you not end games, Ben, with would you sometimes have games abandoned? Because that's in the very first year of that.
I don't know. I definitely see Mike's point, and I think that's actually a very good point, well made. I think I worry that if that happened, I don't think any football game in the country would ever finish. You'd have 8 men left on the pitch every game. And unfortunately, and due to, we live in a game now where, and it's a common complaint amongst football supporters and players, that you can't even touch a player now. If you touch a player, bing, like that, bang, it's a free kick. So the only kind of recourse you have in a game that is passionate with a lot riding on it is to use your mouth and your words. Personally, I'm a bit of a libertarian politically, so I'm like, just let them say what they want, and if you can't deal with it, don't work there. Otherwise you'd never work in a kitchen in a restaurant. If you can't deal with someone swearing at you, don't be a fucking chef.
What about swear bin, Kurt? What about swear? Because Callie says swear bin. Look at basketball. You're the ref. You get a technical foul. Would that be something you'd explore, or is there another option you'd go with?
It's almost like a sin bin, really. I mean, people compare rugby and football. Then they're two different things. The respect, for some reason, has always been there in rugby due to certain levels or whatever. But I think what realistically needs to start happening is when these sort of decisions, when these incidents happen, whereas if a referee's had an awful game, for example, take you back to Wickham last season, they need to take more accountability and soon of that game, because I mean, you had like Lambert came out and said, "Oh, I went and spoke to him and I asked him, did you put your head on my player?" And I don't know what it is, but there's a deep memory that I've got in my head of. I remember after a certain game years and years ago, a referee came out in a post-match interview, and I can't remember what referee it was, but he came out, and I think it was after a Premier League game, and he was there in front of the TV cameras, and he spoke about his decision in that game, and that's the only one I've ever seen, but I can't remember what that referee was. But if a referee comes out and says, "Listen, like, this is that incident, this is what's happened, wholly apologise for it," we don't then need to have this issue of talking about it 4 or 5 days after. It can be done, nipped in the bud, then sorted between everyone else. And I think accountability for the refs would help a long way for it.
Okay, Kurt, we appreciate you. I love you as always. Thank you for the attention. Look after yourself. Back to the wheel. People on Twitter, we are leaving Twitter and heading to Twitch. So if you are watching on Twitter, head to the link in the chat and join us there to carry on this fantastic broadcast. Let's spin that wheel.
I hope you can read that.
We'll just add the Twitch link in. There we go. Right, we have got Lambert's media tour. Jordan's claims Lambert puts my feet to sleep. That is what Jordan said. So this is obviously following Town's 0-0 draw with Northampton. He went on a bit of a media tour. He went to 5 Live. He went to Talk Sport. He went everywhere. What did you make of it? What he was saying, almost in many ways, pushing Marcus Evans under the bus in some cases. What did you two make of it?
After you, because I've fallen asleep after Lambert started. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I put a post on the forum, and it got a lot of responses from different people. I have stopped becoming angry at Lambert. I have, because it's just not where the problem lies. Do I like him as a manager? No. Do I like him as a tactician? No. But it doesn't make him a bad human being. Maybe it's just because of how I'm built that I see that side of it as well. There's a guy who knows his time has come to an end. He knows he's fucked. There is nothing more he can do to bring back the fan base, despite the promise of the what happened at the beginning. That this is squarely on Marcus. And that interview that he gave after that last game, I will say, is the most insightful, explosive interview I think I've ever watched after a professional football game, because there's a guy with a back against a wall. And yes, I think 90% of that is his own creation, but he'll be gone soon. We will get our wish soon enough. And and the problem is not with Lambert. He's just another bad decision, because we've done this the last 5 managers. Yeah. So here's what's going to happen. We're going to get our next manager in. And it might be, is it Cook? So within 2 years, people will be calling for his head. Let's say it's the Cowleys. In 2 years, people will be calling for them head. Yep. And so the revolutions continue. And it's all down to one man. That's Fuckus Evans. And I'll say fuck us because that's what he's done. He's fucked us. Fuckus Evans is in the middle of all of this because we can keep blaming managers, and every time it happens, you can just imagine him sitting there with his monocle and his top hat thinking, okay, yeah, let's put you in front of the fire. Lovely job. I'll just employ another crap one so he takes all the heat. Every time someone criticises Lambert, it's someone who is not criticising our owner, and that pisses me off. We spoke earlier, Martin, about Marcus Evans. Kind of, he pays the money. It's like a mortgage, isn't it? You pay the mortgage on the house. So if we're going to use an analogy of a mortgage, when you pay a mortgage on a house, you don't let the thing fucking fall around you, because when you want to sell the house, you don't make it unsellable. You don't stop putting plaster on the walls. You don't stop doing the electrics. The house will fall down around you, and you're still going to be paying the goddamn mortgage. This is squarely Evans, and I hope Kieran Dyer does not go anywhere near that job, because he will be Jim Magiltoned out of this club. Within 2 years, everyone's going to hate him. Sack Dyer, don't know what he's fucking doing. He's fucking useless. Get him out of our club. Let's go and burn 3 square inches of netting on the training field. It's going to happen again. The exact same thing's going to happen again. I can't think of the mindset of the next person that's actually going to manage us, because the problems are so ingrained, and we all suspected it. We've all spoken about this for months. The problems run deep. Well, there you've got the manager saying, yeah, do you know what? You're fucking right. The problems do run deep. It goes to the core of this club, and Lambert will go. He'll be gone soon, whether it's in 2 games time, 5 games time, or at the end of the season. And guess what? We're going to be doing this exact same thing in 2 years' time with whoever the next lamb up is for the slaughter.
100%. Mike?
Yeah, I'll listen to John's talk sport. He's mentioned Ipswich a few times recently, and I'm the same as you, Ben. I've got to the point now where after the game after the Northampton game, I genuinely kind of, do you know what? You're a shit manager. There's no choice about it.
Yeah.
You're a shit tactician. You've got no idea. You might be a really nice man to your players and all that, but I can't feel any hatred towards him anymore. I can't, and I genuinely feel sorry for him. I do. Yeah. I think he's going to struggle to get another managerial job.
Mm-hmm.
I don't just blame Lambert. I think if he'd have got a decent number 2 with him, I think maybe things could have been slightly different here. I think the number 2 is an awful coach. I really do. I don't rate that bloke. I never heard of him before he came here. So it's not all Lambert. And then you go to the crux of the problem, which is what you've already highlighted, Ben. And that's like I said, Fuckers Evan. He's turned. I mean, yeah, like you said, if this was a ship that, we were a ship in need of repair, we were afloat and everything, but now we are literally the Titanic. We have hit an iceberg, and unless in this day and age we can find the welders to fix them holes, we are going down further. Yeah,
it doesn't matter who your captain is. If there's holes in the bow, you're fucking sinking.
Absolutely. I wouldn't want Dyer as a coach yet. For me, he's got a long way to go before he can manage a first team. He needs a bit more experience, I think. But yeah, God, I hope Evans still up. I really do.
Don't you feel like that we're now the kind of the soap equivalent of EastEnders? It's like every time you turn on EastEnders, it's some miserable fucking story.
But the problem is, Ben,
just want to go and play in traffic.
We're a basket case of a football club. We're a basket case of a football club without the eccentric owner, so we don't catch the attention enough. Look at some owners that have come in and tried to change badges and colours and team colours and crests and things. The media get hold of that and go, "Oh my God!" Whereas we've got an owner that really is running the club as much of a basket case as anybody else in the football league, but it's all in the so no one goes, "Well, what's Ipswich doing?" They just see a club that was in freefall, and we're mid-table in the 3rd tier of English football. When he took over, we were on the cusp of a playoff place. And every year we've gone from Derek Bowden telling us we're going for the Champions League to suddenly hoping we don't go and play Leyton Orient.
It's like having a silent. It's like knowing someone who's got a silent abusive partner behind closed doors, and it's all smiles when you walk outside. There's chaos going on behind, but the outside world, the view to the outside world is. Well, really, it seemed quite happy to me. That's exactly what this is. This is an abusive, bloody relationship. Swap out the people, putting an owner in the club.
But then are we as fans to blame? Because I mean, we've always been known as Sleepy Suffolk. Darren Bent said, you know, I've never known the fans to ever do what they've done. They've never. I think I say we're Sleepy Suffolk, but I think if we'd have been in normal times, and we wouldn't be all in lockdown and everybody would be in the stands, Lambert would have. I think Evans would never have come back to Portman Road. Yeah. I think Lambert would have been gone a long time ago. I don't think he'd have shown his face anywhere near the club. But it's only the fact that we are in this situation is why so many fans, I guess, are so worried about the COVID, and rightly so. But the problem is like you say, we have always been known as Sleepy Suffolk, you know, and that's the problem. I think we've got to maybe by the end of all this, but next season we all might be sat here going, can't wait for this season.
We won't be.
I'm hoping. I'm not saying it won't.
No, we will, and it won't be because of football.
We are, that's all we can hope, isn't it?
I agree with that, Mike. We will be sitting ready for a new season. It will have nothing to do with football or the owner or Lambert. It will just be because we're coming out of COVID, and this is the biggest get-out clause ever. If we sank down to fucking League Two and we had all our players get sold off, do you know what? The first game of next season, I'll be excited because it ain't this. It ain't this. It's because we can go out. Now, it'd be great to go out with a product and something, but what you say about Sleepy Suffolk is true. We are the most patient supporters in world football. And I think it was like 10 games ago where Mick Mills said, another drab night of football at England's most miserable club. Back then, we were still in the mix. We were still there's possibilities to do something. We actually get to a point where we actually get so bad, you have to stop getting angry about it because there's so much more to get angry with in the world. And I think because there's so much horrible existential stuff going on right now in all of our lives. People worried about money, jobs, their loved ones dying, going to work thinking, am I going to catch something that's going to kill me? That I think that the way Ipswich Town kind of falls in people's lives right now, even to us diehard supporters, it falls down the pecking order. In normal times, you're quite right, when we don't have all this worry, this would be top of the agenda. And instead of setting the light to a bit of netting, you would have 500 people out there with a get Marcus or get Lambert out thing. But, and that's why I think we're so sleepy. But I don't think we're sleepy right now because there are so much bigger things to worry about. But I tell you what, this happens any other year than the year it's happened, there'd be a fucking civil war and there'd be mutinies all over the place. And this COVID is Marcus's greatest gift in this world. I would argue he started.
How would we be without social media? If we were in lockdown and we didn't have social media, where would we be as a club? We'd be sat there listening to it on the radio, like we used to in the old days. I know perhaps not you younger.
You might have a local media that can be that will be placed in a stronger position. Don't forget, social media does undermine the role the local media now plays within the community. Somebody puts on Facebook, my son is missing, right? And everyone knows that in 5 minutes, whereas before you'd have to sort of, be newspapers and radios and things like that. And that's probably extreme situations come to my head. But the social media has really hurt how much the club can put out and bypass the media. And so it kind of puts them in a difficult situation. And they do they do the job they can do to the best of their abilities. But in a way, social media has also really taken the sting out of people. So Ben says without lockdown, without COVID, we would be civil war. I disagree. People would be civil war on Twitter, but then come 3 p.m. on a Saturday, they'd be there supporting, clapping, cheering. And then I saw it forever. I saw it through McCarthy. That bloke was
but that's a different thing.
That's in the middle of the championship.
No one really hated McCarthy. He just didn't like the football. It was a big difference. Yeah. I think there was a lot of fans. Look, I weren't a great McCarthy fan. I met him a couple of times at the Players' Evening and everything. He's a great speaker and he's a laugh, actually, to be brutally honest. But what I will say is the fans turned McCarthy's issue was when he told us all to F off at the Norwich game. That was his downfall, mixed with the poor football that we'd been watching probably for 18 months.
Under Paul Jewell, there was still people, I still spoke to him today, that didn't want Paul Jewell sacked, that felt he wasn't given enough time. There was never really been, apart from Duncan and maybe, spluttering under Magilton, courtesy of Crunch, there never really been, other than Duncan, a big sort of surge. And all these things we're talking about here are reasons why I've not been on the Lambert out train, because this real problem remains. And I didn't want to go on this merry-go-round again where we're blaming one guy and we think the medicine is just removing him. And suddenly after 5 minutes in the footballing world, oh my God, we're back here again.
I would have disagreed with that strongly until the last game, and when he actually came out and I actually saw, I think, what Lambert actually is, and he's human. He's shite and he knows it, and that's a horrible reality for it.
His hands are tied. He finished
No,
11th place last year, and the answer was Ollie Hawkins. That's your own opinion.
Yeah, I agree. Lambert has to sign off on that. Lambert has to sign off on the.
You've got to
sign off the players. Mike. A manager doesn't become a manager, and the manager turns around and says, "Oh no, I don't want Ollie Hawkins. I want him.
Right.
I want him. He signed him off."
Okay, so let's live in the world of he says to Marcus, "Okay, no, I don't want Ollie Hawkins." If that's your budget, where are you going next? Are you going to enter the season with Jackson and Norwood, who can't stay fit, with Drinan? We had to in the end, but are you really going to enter the season just with those three players and we're going to pray? No, you're going to say, well, if that's the budget, if that's what you can deliver me, and that's what he's saying in the interviews, where the infrastructure's not right, the recruitment is pants, been since Evans came out.
Lambert could relegate Man City now. That's how poor I think he is as a manager.
Go on,
it will be interesting to see what his next job is. That will tell you how much of a manager. Now, Mick McCarthy, we all moaned, but we all knew he could do a job. And this is why he's now working comparative wonders with Cardiff, He would always have gone back into a team. I'm absolutely fascinated because I see both sides of this. And I think you're quite right, Martin. I think his next job will tell everyone where he is. I don't think he'll be employed again. And I would think that I just don't. It's a mixture of the two. It's not one or the other. I think he is both not a great manager, but I also think he's not being supported as well. It's both things. It's not one or the other. People who think we've got to go to the promised land, you're in for a big fucking.
And I want to pick up on the point here. It says that many people saying Crunches is the person I picked out here. Lambert knew the restrictions. That is why you get managers like Paul Lambert, like Paul Hurst, like Paul Jewell, because every single savvy manager that's on the up knows the restrictions and goes, "Sorry, who wants me? No chance, not a chance." They run a mile. Frank Lampard couldn't get out of bloody Suffolk quick enough. He could not get away quick enough.
We weren't big enough for Frank Lampard.
No, there was not enough money. There was not enough money. The budget wasn't big enough.
His ego was too big for Ipswich.
But do you know what? If
that ended up,
I see that. That's fair enough. If you've got the possibility of Chelsea, or you come to this shit show, I would argue that there would be no League Two managers that would want to manage us now. Fuck me, I'd stay in the rhyming Premier League rather than coming to manage Ipswich. Because the question is not who's the next good manager. The question is who is the next lamb for the slaughter.
Ipswich Town is the place managers come to die.
Yep. And players.
McCarthy didn't come to die, did he?
Fuck me, he's bounced around long enough.
But he didn't have his own cause, did he? Look, I'm McCarthy worked wonders here. I'm under the restrictions, and let's be honest, that's the word here, isn't it? Restrictions. But there is good managers out there that can work under the restrictions. McCarthy was one of those, and unfortunately, I just think he'd had enough and just decided he was going to find a way out, and that's how he got out. But
everyone says McCarthy was good enough, but really, apart from the one playoff year, we were never really good enough. Really, we were okay.
We didn't get relegated with him, did we?
No, but that was thanks to Bart one year. He literally saved that guy from getting relegated when we didn't. He was outstanding. Now the point is,
the season we came
but the point is, Mike, McCarthy would be a folklore legend. Had he been backed, he were on the cusp of Premier League football. He would be the next George Burley. I would be sitting here saying, I didn't make McCarthy, and you'd be saying, oh my God.
And that's all down to fucking
exactly.
Marcus.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You got Freddie Steers in. Then, of course, you get to the point where the job got so big for McCarthy, where he was constantly firefighting for who? Marcus Evans. That's why he ended saying Foxtrot Oscar to his own fans, because it was all like now for Lambert coming in. The walls were coming in, and no one was helping him. There was no leadership. And that's the issue from throughout. There's no leadership at this football club. And this is what you get. Managers now in survival mode. That's why you get recruitment like Alan Judge, because it's a manager trying to win now and not worried about tomorrow. You're robbing tomorrow for today.
If you've got a good standing in the game, if you're Cook, if you're the Cowleys, why would you come here? Why would you do what Hurst did? Hurst was an up-and-coming manager. Okay, he was the wrong appointment in my opinion, but I understand the reasons why we did it. He was up-and-coming. He was young. He was idealistic. He had things he wanted to do. He wanted to build something. 12 games he was gone. He went right back down. Why would you want to torpedo your entire career by coming here?
Exactly. And football players and agents and coaches, they all talk. They all know the inside information. You know, you get non-disclosure agreements, but we still have a conversation over a beer. You still, you know. And the point is, Paul Hurst, I will always feel sorry for him because his recruitment was pants, but he had the silverware robbed to pay for the recruitment. He didn't buy Jackson to play with Waghorn. He had to sell Waghorn. And people will say, yeah, but Waghorn wanted to go. He went to fucking Derby. If we can't match Derby's wages,
I agree.
That's why where we are now.
But Waghorn was going, so was Garner. There was a lot of players that a lot of our good players were leaving, and that was. And there's not, you know, it's been well documented that a lot of our players that season went, you know. But you say about McCarthy. I mean, that first season he came and he saved us from relegation. The form that we were on, if we'd have been on that from the start of the season, we'd have won that league by a country mile.
Yeah, but then when Paul Jewell left, it's very, very similar to the Paul Lambert reign because you had 4, 5, 6, 7 loanies, Danny Higginbotham, you had DJ Campbell. But you know, Paul Jewell, one of his signings in the summer before he left was a young French midfielder that never played in English football. Like, he was really, you can't say he was really supported ever. I mean, at the start of the reign, maybe. But again, towards the end, it was almost like, well, I know you're a dead duck, so I'm not going to support you. I'm just going to allow you to effectively manage yourself out of a job, which is what we've got going on here. And Paul Lambert's more savvy. He knows it, so now he's trying to work it so you got no option. But
it's like the last few months of a presidency in the United States. You know, you there's an incumbent president. Nothing you do or just thing you're going to do is going to make any difference, and you're just seeing out your reign. Yeah. Absolutely.
Someone says, sorry, you felt sorry for Paul Hurst. Yes, I did. Because I'd Mike says they were going, but if you can go and earn more money, you go wherever as a player. Your career is very short.
Yeah. You're one injury away from unemployment.
Exactly. Yep. My point is, if we can't match Derby County for wages with our best player who got our goals and our assists, that's a huge issue in my book. Yeah. He won't go to Chelsea or Man City. He was going to Derby fucking County. That's poor. That's poor. And it dragged on and dragged on and dragged on because the club were digging their heels in trying to get a fee that Derby knew, look, we've got you by the short and curlies here. So you can either play or we'll just drag it out and then you'll have no one to bring in. And, you know, so I do feel sorry for him a little bit. Anyway, back to the will. We've drawn that one out. Let's go. Good old Marcus Evans. I don't follow. This was mentioned on the show this Monday, Talking Town Extra Time, or just Monday just gone, from Tom. He said, I don't follow. So, and the idea is that, you know, on Tuesday night when you go and watch your whole game, if Callie's in the chat, Callie, you could join us to have a conversation about this. Links in the chat. You go through the whole City account to buy your game. Cruncher wasn't too pleased. What would you make of that? So to watch the whole game, you need an iFollow pass. Would you go through whole City, or would you say, you know what? No, I love my club regardless. I'm going to give them the money.
I watch my games through other media sources, IPTV, right? And the reason being is I refuse to invest any money into the club while Evans is in charge. I've kept that stance from a long time now, and I maintain that. That doesn't mean I don't support the club, because I do. And there's been times when I have bought the iFollow, but I think it's a brilliant idea that if you got an away game, which is away, then you buy the home iFollow, iFollow thing, because that's saying, well, Marcus, if you can't be asked to even communicate with us, can't be asked to support this club, other than, I put £6 million in there every year. How about communicating with the fans? Because without So just buy the away. If you're away and you're at Hull, go onto Hull's website, buy their iFollow. They get the funds. Marcus Evans can go and live in his £1 billion yacht, whatever it is.
I'll bring Callie in because it was part of the Throw It Over Thursday. And Callie suggested it. So King Callie Bisler, welcome in. Tell us all about it and what you think as well. Because Cruncher said it's a pandemic. Our club has no revenue. Poor old Marcus. He's holding his. Yeah, well, you go on and you tell him, Callie.
Bullshit. I love Cruncher, mate, but that's bullshit. Sorry, I think Matt is a rock and sock connection. Matt said many times how rich our owner is. Right, sorry, mate, but he can keep this club afloat. It's not like we're spending money on wages. We've just been talking about that. The whole thing around I don't follow is. Everyone, we all know the issues, Evans. We've been saying, how do we stick it up to Evans? Martin, you talked about it last year about when we come back to the stadiums, we should have, not gone. I think we got 1,600, not 2,000. So some people didn't go, but also pandemic and everything from there. So people were just excited back to football. Now I'm an Ipswich fan. I always want us to win. I'll always watch us. So I'm always going to watch the games. And I hate Evans, and it kills me that I'm lining Evans' pocket every time I watch Ipswich, and he's just there laughing. So some guys, I think Matt and TJ come up with the idea. Matt Stannard did some research on it or whatever, and then I emailed the iFollow guys as well. But basically, the way it works is if you've got an away game, if you buy it through an away account, and you'll either have to cancel your Ipswich one, but if you've got a season ticket, then your free games, you want to keep that. The other option is create a new email account, is what it says. Create an email account, go on like the Hull's website. Because they are the home team and Ipswich are the away team, they get all the revenue from their side, plus the first 500 off the away team as well. So that way, I don't know. We talked about it all come on the back of the protest, like Blue Action doing their thing. It's all about ripple effect. We talked about it, and now the media are talking about it. And we talked about, well, what are the next steps to protest? How else do we do that? No one else had a drone license, so we said this is probably a good idea.
Absolutely, Callie. Why you should sort your mic out because it sounds like you need a soother. Bring Ben in. Ben, what do you think of it all?
I'll be honest. I don't really have an opinion. I didn't know much about it, so give the time to Callie.
Okay, Callie, back to you. I'm all for it. I'll say that. I don't understand. It's one game, so you've got two trains of thought. One, Marcus won't really notice. Okay, maybe he will, maybe he won't. Well, the second one is, well, it's only one game, so is the club going to lose that much if you do it? Back to Cruncher's point, probably not. So I think it's a good next step, and we need next steps in this pandemic world where we can make a point. And it be in a constructive way, and you can't have blowback from you broke rules or this, that, or the other, or you hurt a fence or whatever. Poor fence's feelings. You just need something. The next step is all getting in our cars, going around Port Road for 90 minutes, honking our horns. The sheer volume of traffic alone.
Well, the thing is, is like I said, anything that we're going to do to protest, it's not going to be a one-off thing, right? Now, it is new to Sleepy Suffolk, or it's not new in terms of it's not happened before, but it's not something that happens a lot, right? So it's all got to be about ripple effects. It's always got to be building on the next thing, right? So the whole game is the start of it. Me personally, I look at the logistics on it, how it works. If it's a case that I can just use that same alternative email address, so I just need 2 emails, then I'll just do that for the rest of the away games. They've already taken my money for the home games. Evans can afford to not have 10 quid or whatever, and then he's going to start seeing money in his pocket. It's our voice, and it's not even like we can protest in front of the director's box because he ain't there. He's not there, like the West Ham fans did or whatever. We can't do that, so how else can you hit the man in his pocket? I don't know. There's other ideas. I'm all for it. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It was an idea which was mentioned. I thought it was genius.
Yeah, by TJ, and I thought I completely agree with you. And sadly, TJ couldn't join us tonight. I was got him on there with you, Callie, but I agree with it. Luke Penning says promote the I don't follow hashtag, get it trending again. Tuesday should be all about I don't follow. I'm all for. I can't see any reason why you wouldn't be because our club. I want to say dying, but I'm fearful that it might have crossed over.
The only reason I want to echo something that Mike says about this. The only single reason, the one reason is I pay for the matches every week is so I can come on here and be part of this community because I want to be informed. I want to talk about it. I want to have the communication with friends that I can't have on the side of a stand or over a hot dog stand. This is the best thing we have at the moment. And I think if I hadn't have found this, I would not be paying £10 a week to do it. So for me, the money that I invest in paying the iFollow is to speak to you guys rather than pay Evans. And okay, that's a sad offshoot of paying money to support the club, but also certainly in a time when you can't even go around and see your mum and dad, to actually sit here and have a 4-way conversation. For me, it's worth a tenner.
But if you could still watch the game, be a part of the community, and watch the game, and not give Evans the money, then wouldn't you do it that way? Do you know what I mean? And just coming on to that point, I saw that someone said about cancelling season tickets. I haven't cancelled mine. I said that before. I don't know how it all going to work. I don't trust our club that well. I'm still, talking about refunds. I'm worried. And these are rumours on the online or whatever. But if you cancel your season ticket or whatever, then you give up any refund you might be entitled to. So I've still kept my season ticket there anyway. Well,
and the thing is, though, the season ticket is a bit like being at the blackjack table. I'm in it now. I'm so far in it. Do I abandon all hope and say, well, fuck it and walk away? It's
called being pot committed. Yeah.
Yeah. Or do I say, do you know what? Fine. I'm here. That last 20 quid in my back pocket, just throw it on the fucking table. Like we're so far in it. Whereas next season, that's a different story, and that's one that will develop as the circus continues to unravel and what goes on. But right now, I'm so far in it for my season ticket, I might as well not bother and just say, do you know what? Whatever happens, as Callie said, we don't know what the T's and C's are. People have tried to find out. Carl Fuller's tried to find out. Other people have tried to find out. And the further you go, I don't know. I've not heard anything, so I don't know if any of you three have. Jack Messenger is a direct debit. They have to give you a refund. Neil Barley, there's a pandemic, just cancel the ticket. That's simple. The thing is, though, the fact that you've bought a ticket or have a season ticket should be enough. Like, you supported this football club in the middle of a pandemic. That gives you...
But this is a club run by Evans, and I said it before. When have you ever trusted an Evans decision about Ipswich Town Football Club?
Amen, brother.
Ever worked out?
I haven't. Alternatively, you can always support the channel and donate it on the Ko-Fi. Callie, appreciate you as absolutely always, my friend. Stay true, stay well, and I'll see you soon.
See you later, guys.
See you later, mate. All the best. It's back to that wheel. We've got a few topics remaining, as I say. You can, of course, just donate to the channel instead. That is all welcome and appreciated. And the next topic is Jackson and Nolan banished to the under-23s. So in a time when we can't beat Northampton, are arguably two players we spent the most amount of money on in the whole squad.
The most amount of game time.
Yeah, can't get a game because of, well, what do you make of it? Ben, kick us off.
This I think this is okay. So that now we're going to put the ball right back to Lambert, this bad man management, and you've got. I think everyone saw the Jackson tweet that my dedication to playing football will not be questioned. Strange, and I don't really know. I don't know if I'm just been out of it for a couple of days. I don't really know the reasons why. I don't think it's the red card, because otherwise you're going to have 4 or 5 players who are going to be in the under-23s. Downs is not going to suddenly go training with the under-23s. So it's something that's happened behind the scenes, and I don't know what it is. And yeah, when we our strikers cannot score a goal, and everyone seems to think that the sun shines out of Lancaster and Norwood's arse when they're no better than the other, semi-pros we have at the club. I don't understand why you're taking out 2 stalwarts of the team. I've been a critic of Jackson. I've been a critic of Nolan. But in a time when players are injured, they're getting sent off left, right, and centre. We're on our fucking knees as a team. I just don't see how you would put 2 first-team players in the under-23s. But that's because there's something we don't know about. So this is all going to be conjecture.
Mike?
Well, for a start, Jackson's tweet, I think, stems from this season as a whole, because there's been times it's been alleged that Jackson's never been injured this season and he's just been left out. Okay, that's come from a couple of different sources and whatever. So Nolan has not been playing well, and maybe a game in the under-23s wouldn't hurt him. Jackson, I don't get. I know you're not a fan of Norwood, but he made a huge difference when he came on in big
I'll own that. I'll own that. I like him as a player. I detest him as a human being. And I can't. I'm too biased to separate the two. That's my issue, not his.
No, he's got a. He is a good player. He's a good footballer. I wouldn't say he's most mentally the most stablest of people by the looks of him and the way he conducts himself. Sometimes I think he's, but I will say that he is a player that you would want to be starting up front, and the same with Jackson. I think Jackson is a quality player being held back by a poor manager. I know you could say the same when he was like that under Hurst, but there's something about Jackson that I don't know. There's a player in there that I think at some point is just suddenly going to behave, Cruncher. Behave, son.
I agree.
Down you. I do think there's a player in Jackson. I really do. I've seen enough of him to think, well, yeah. And if you put him, I mean, you got Jackson Drinnan, you got Harrop, who is pony. I'm sorry, but I ain't seen nothing. He was shit against Northampton. He was absolutely, honestly. I think
how disappointing was that?
No, and how bad is Hawkins? I think personally, there's obviously a friction between him and Lambert. Gotta be, because I think,
can't
like I said, Jackson.
it. You're a manager that I can't understand it. You're a manager that, if we believe all the contract talk about clauses and breaks and whatnot, we don't know what the payout may be if he doesn't make the playoffs. If he gets any playoff, I don't know. You would be playing your best players because you want to win games, because at the end of the day, your managerial career rests on the win-loss percent record. There's something more than just you got sent off or you're not being playing
and that comes right back to what I said. We don't know the story.
Could it be a financial thing about certain appearances trigger certain installments to?
No, I've never bought that because our manager's not that fucking intelligent.
No. But
no
if
Evans,
if the word comes down, if he plays another 10 games, for example, we owe the next part of the installment on the transfer.
No.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm just putting that out. I'm just putting ideas out there.
There is something that has gone on there, and look, there's absolute chaos going on behind the scenes at the club that we have absolutely no idea that's going on. That we're sitting on here moaning about the things we know. This would be a very different thing if a very different show if we were talking about the things that everyone else knows within the club. It is absolute chaos behind the scenes there, and those two little things, Nolan and Jackson, are just too many examples of it. And I don't think they're going to be the last. I agree with you. I think there's a good player in Jackson. I've been a bit of a critic, but I think with a good partner, I think there's potential there. I can't stand Norwood. He had 7 or 8 games or 10 games last season where he scored some goals. Apart from that, he's been a gobby, arrogant, narcissistic little shitbag, and I don't like him. He is not fit to lace up Darren Bent or Shefty Kuki's boots. And as soon as that prick is not wearing my striker's jersey of Ipswich Town, sooner he's out here, the better, because I also judge people on the quality of men they are, because that's the kind of people we've produced. The people that we talk about now who have represented Ipswich have been good men as well as good players. And as soon as that prick's out, the better. And I'm sorry, it's a very personal thing, the drink driving thing. I have my own reasons why I've got a big issue with that, things that have happened in my life. And I think if you're doing that when you're a professional footballer and you're dying to get back in the team, you don't deserve to even walk on the training pitch. Stick to Instagram, stick to TikTok, and fuck off.
As Christopher Martin says, get off the fence, fella.
That was the best rant I've heard in a while, to be honest with you, Ben, mate. Legend.
Didn't agree with it, but
that's fair. You don't have to. It's fine. I just think it's a fucking prick.
Yeah, look. Was he like that at Tranmere?
Nobody knows, Mike, because Tranmere's irrelevant.
No, he weren't. There's people come out and said, I
couldn't tell you who plays for Tranmere, Mike.
Sorry?
I couldn't tell you who plays for fucking Tranmere, let alone what people were like at Tranmere.
When he was coming in, I watched some videos of Tranmere and with Norwood and stuff, and I'm thinking, you know what? I swear to God, in the right, if we had a fit Norwood, and Jackson up front in a say, oh, if you want to play 4-3-1-2, hypothetically, right? They'd rip this league up. I honestly believe that. But the problem is we don't get a fit Norwood because I think he's got personal things going on in his life. His ego's too big for his own.
Yeah.
You know, he needs to calm down and realise that he's a professional footballer.
Split with his missus when he joins. You know what, sod that? Alan Judge just had his little girl in hospital and he's playing some of the best games he's played in the season. Not buying that. If he split with his missus when he joined, then don't fucking play football. Go and sort yourself out and then come back to it.
Crunch 76, he could get away with it at Tranmere because they're a Tin Pot team. I just want to know where the fuck is Marcus Evans and all this again? Because if I'm the owner and my investment is sat in the training ground and I know I've got a man that won't be here in 10 minutes' time, why the fuck am I not saying, Paul, put him in the team. I'm the owner. You don't do it. We'll have a conversation. Like, we always read Marcus is around the training ground. He wants to put a certain style of play on. He's getting more involved. You're the owner of the football club. Now, you can't say pick them. That's fair enough. But they can be in the squad. They can be amongst the bench. And then you can hang the manager out to dry when you draw 0-0 of Northampton and Caden Jackson sits on the bench and don't come on. Explain that one to the fans and the press, Paul. Like, as the owner, I want to have my assets playing games. Where is he? What is he doing?
And that is the crux of the whole problem right there. Everything else is just noise. That's the problem.
You know, I hate John. I don't like John Nolan, but we bought money. We paid money for him. So if he's fit and he can run, 18-man squad for you, John.
Yeah, we've got that young lad Parrott who was absolute pony at the week. He's played 2 games, 3 games now. I ain't seen nothing that's anything better than what we've got. I'm sorry, it might be Tottenham, but I'd be getting rid of him if I was Tottenham.
Well,
sure, I ain't seen it. I'm sorry, but I don't think he's that good. I really don't. I've not seen
just says Nolan ahead of Andre. Oh my god, this is bizarre.
No, I'm sorry, I don't.
Oh no, I agree.
A lot of stuff, but I totally am with him on that. Dazelle is a
bit of a shout, though, isn't it?
If his last name wasn't Dazelle, his last name was Smith, he'd be fucking criticised like everyone else. He is living off his dad's name, and he does a good pass once every 15 of them. He does, and he has a great game once every 8. But I'll tell you what, the guy's fucking. He's okay. He's okay, and there's that whole argument. Well, I don't know. There's that whole argument of he's playing too low. If he went up into the Championship or Premier League, his vision would be, he'd have someone to receive the ball. Fuck off. He's rubbish. I think he's totally bang average. He's neither good nor bad. But because he's lukewarm, he gets to be in our team. And his dad happened to be very good once. Thank God your name's Dazelle. Don't ever change your name because you'll be playing for bloody Morecambe before you know it.
I don't rate John Nolan, but I rate him ahead of Andre.
I do rate Lancaster, and well,
that's football.
When he came on, he played well.
That's the beauty of it, isn't it? And as we look to Oxford, obviously we know what's fit and who's not fit and who's suspended. Down's out for 2. What do we expect from the weekend? It's almost like Groundhog Day. We as fans, do we want to see a win? These, and I've asked this question almost every week, but now do you want to see a team win Saturday? Do you want to see your team win?
Of course I do. I want to see Ipswich win.
I don't think
I've beat Oxford.
Yeah, you're quite right because you're now talking about reality. We ain't going to beat Oxford. We're going to be turned over 3 or 4-1 because they're a good team, and thank God the teams who just played are beyond shite, and that we can only draw against them. We're going to get punished, but I would love to see a win because fundamentally. We are Ipswich Town supporters, and I think everyone bloody needs it. I think the players need it. God help me for saying this. I think Lambert bloody needs it. I think we need it. We just need to walk away on a Saturday night and thought, I enjoyed that. That's a good game. That's pretty cool. And the rest of it, we're a bunch of supporters. We dance among the flames. When it's all burning down around us, we dance amongst it. We don't do too much. Other teams will be having civil wars and storming the gates by now. But we're used to a bit of tragedy. But give us a weekend off. Go and beat
Tom
Oxford.
James. What area of the pitch would you all say our strength is? Mike, what would you say our strength is?
Good question.
If we could have the ideal players on the pitch, I'd say probably our attacking midfield or our strikers. That's our strength. Our weakness is our goalies.
Yeah. So true. So true.
I mean, Holy came to Ipswich as this like really 73 goals he conceded at Gillingham.
Thomas Holy is a brilliant goalkeeper for where we are as a club right now, mid-table.
People think because he's so tall and so so massive and he covers so much of the goal, he's going to be good. But that's like thinking just because you've got a massive dick, you're going to be good in bed. It's not. It doesn't matter. You've actually got to do something with the equipment that God's given you. He's not very good.
Paul Cooper, what was he? 5'9"?
He is a mid-table League One goalkeeper playing for a mid-table League One team.
I think that's fair.
Richard White, what was he? 6'1"?
Yeah.
But you know, a good goalie wins you 12 points a season. Holy would struggle to win 2 points this season.
Where would we be? 12 points above us right now would be 5th.
And the PPG year, points per game year, you may have got into the playoffs. Maybe a different story.
Point. But great point. Not enough focus is given on the goalkeepers. I like this. We fucking lambasted the defence in Chambers and Dazelle and Jackson and Nolan and all that lot. We don't talk about the keepers very much, and I think you're right.
Tony Adams would play shit in front of them two goalkeepers. You know, they don't know if they're coming or going themselves. Let alone if you're a defender.
Back four of their invincible season would struggle with Holy in goal.
The thing is, though, you say that right, but you're right because if you think of Arsenal teams, they're a great example. When they had Seaman or Lehman in goal, they were good. When they had Manninger or Taylor in goal, they always looked absolutely bang ordinary because a goalie is a pretty important component of the will.
Mike D, I love that comment.
Thomas
Holy fucking shit. It's true. He's a nice guy. He's a nice guy. He's friendly and affable, and he's a better man than some of the better performers of our team. But he is a perfect representation of where we are as a club right now. He's lukewarm. He's not the worst. He's not nowhere near the best. He's just meh. He's passing through.
Average League Two goalkeeper.
Yeah. Throw it over Thursday continues. Lewis Robertson. Who out of the current squad has been improved under the current regime? Junai Danassian.
I think our ball boys have been quicker getting the ball on the pitch.
Danassian following his loan spell because he's getting better coaching. There you go, Mike.
He's been better than match every bloody game. All about. Well, I did call it. Do you know what I mean?
There we go. I love Bartosz Bielakowski.
Okay, I've got one for that. I've got one. Who's been improved under the current regime? You could argue. Bloody name's got out of my head. Sorry, this is the third Jack Daniels. The left back.
Kenlock.
Yeah, Kenlock.
Oh yes.
Fair point.
I didn't think he was as good the other night, but for Christ's sakes, playing in that, I don't think anyone would be. But he has come on. He's gone back and done the work, and he's come back a better player. Now, we haven't seen enough of him to say that's consistent, but I do like the fact that he seems to have come back and actually gone up a level. And I got that wrong the first game. I said when he came back in that 10 minutes, he looked bloody fat. Do you know what? I got that wrong. He actually is playing well, and I'm really interested to see where that goes. We will see.
Against Northampton, I mean, there was a few comments on social media saying, "Oh, he's getting found out now. He's getting." Kenlock is pony. Yeah, all right, Crunch. Yeah. Honestly.
As you told Crunch.
Honestly, really? Honestly, that's a statement on its own. That really is.
Who's developed then? Give me the alternative. There's no good saying it's crap. Who's done better?
He was getting two wingers, the fullback and their winger was pushing Kenlock back, and he, yes, there was times where he get himself in a bit of trouble, but he fought back harder than the rest of the team to win the ball.
I totally agree with that.
And that's all you can ask for.
Do you know what he had a word to describe it? He's hungry. He's hungry.
Absolutely. If we had 10 other players on that pitch as hungry as Kenlock, we'd have won that game easily. What has the world come to when we said that sentence? I know.
What has the world come to?
It's bizarro world, my friends. It's bizarro world. Crunchy is 24 years old. Yeah, but that's still young in football terms. Right. Score prediction, Mike, for Saturday, please. Ben's kindly given us his.
3-0. I can't see any. 3-0 Oxford. I can't see it. They're on such a run and they're on such good form.
They're great. I watch the highlights.
I can't even see. Look. We had one shot on target against Northampton, and now suddenly we're supposed to score and win 1 or 2-0 against Oxford. Not happening in a million. You know that Chambers is going to come back in. You know that bloody slow coach left back is going to come back in, and we're going to end up. It's 3-0 Oxford. It's no two. I can't see anything. If we scrape 2-0, that'd be a result, I guess. If we scrape a 2-0 loss. Well, I think it could be more. I think we could get a bit of a thumping.
How sad that we're saying it could be 2 or 3 or 4 against Oxford fucking United. And I think it'll be worse. I think we're due a drubbing, and it breaks my heart to say that. It hasn't happened yet. It's probably the one shining light of our entire season. We haven't been turned over, but I think we're about to be.
Yeah, I said to my son Jake, he's a Man United fan, but he's also an Ipswich fan as well. And he said, one of these days you're going to get thumped.
Yeah,
and
it's coming.
It's either going to be Oxford or it's going to be Hull. It's going to be one and two teams, and we're all going to be here going, well, at least we saw many goals, even if they weren't ours.
Yeah.
And to close, I want to just change it up a gear a little bit, sort of a Throwback Thursday, but I want to talk about Sir Bobby Robson on what would have been his 88th birthday today, an absolute legend.
TWTD.
Of the actual game, not just legend of Ipswich Town, but legend of the game. What a man! The phrase "man, myth, legend" is often said a lot by me, but if ever a man was that, it was Sir Bobby. And I just wanted to really sort of ask if you had a particular fond memory or a favourite.
We will not see the likes of him ever again. Certainly, our club.
Really will not. What a man! Is there a moment that when you think of Sir Bobby that sticks out to you?
How many managers this day and age do you see a school fate or a fate of any description signing autographs with 1 or 2 players? Can you imagine Pep Guardiola doing that? Can you imagine Harry Redknapp for starters? Could you see him doing that? No, Bobby Robson did. And I remember when I was a young lad, there was Kevin Beattie, Paul Mariner and Brian Talbot, and there was Sir Bobby Robson. And he was sat down and there was a little flyers and he'd sign them and you'd get. I wish I'd kept it. I got lost as I got older, but that to me, there's everything about him as not only as a manager but as a person. Anybody that I speak to, and I'm pretty certain I speak for you guys. I'm not going to speak for you guys, but you know what I mean. I think anybody that actually met Bobby Robson or spoke to Bobby Robson, he was so friendly, polite, and no wonder he was a good manager because his ability to have a conversation with a person he's never even met before was second to none.
Sometimes you have to do things in people's memory. It's an often thing when someone you love dies and you carry something on, whether it's looking after your family, whether it's carrying on a family business. And I think it's part of the reason we support Ipswich. Now, I'm too young to have seen him manage the team, but we support Ipswich based on the things that he built based off of his memory. And I know we're shit now, but I'm also still here because I knew we were good once. And it's that hope of we could be good once again. And I'm glad that, he's not alive to see what we've become because, when he left us, bless him, we weren't where we are now. Did you see that story about Kieran Dyer on the golf course when he talked about his memory of Sir Bobby? You see that story?
No.
He said Kieran Dyer called out one of the coaches at Newcastle, and one of the coaches at Newcastle were bollocking. I think it was Amiobi and a couple of new players, and Dyer went over and said, "Don't you fucking bollock them? They're young kids. They're brand new here. What are you thinking?" And Bobby Robson shouted from the side of the pitch, "Get your fucking ass in the changing room right now. How dare you speak to my staff like that?" And Kieran Dyer said, "Here's this legend, and I just come from Ipswich. I know how nice and kind he is. He's just told me to get my ass in the changing room." So Kieran Dyer goes in the changing room, and he said he's standing under the shower crying that this icon has just shouted at him. And about 10 minutes later, Bobby Robson comes in the shower, puts his arm around him and says, "Well done, boy, but I can't have you talk to my staff like that, so I had to put you in your place, but well done for standing up to him. Good man. Now get out there and have a great training session." Absolutely. I thought that is everything you want to know about man management. That means his coaches felt 10 feet high because he's been defended. The player felt 10 feet high because he feels like he's actually done something, and everyone's happy. And that is good man management. And there are 1,000 people out there who could have 1,000 stories just like that. But we will not see the likes of him ever again. But how lucky are we to have had him in the first place?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get a few comments. Spot on, Ben. Really spot on. Facebook user Bobby, true gentleman, Omet, really down to earth. Doug Basie, thankfully he's not here to see us now. Would break his heart. Callie, he was like everyone's cool granddad. Ben Moore, you look at Jose and Pep, both got taught by Sir Bobby. His coaching tree is really phenomenal. The coaches that have come through from his, absolutely. His man management skills second to none. Dyer loved him when he was at Newcastle. Sir Malcolm Thompson, Sir Bobby managed in different countries, spoke different languages and cultures, but successful, gentleman, biggest plus. Cruncher, everybody, whatever club or country you love, follows Sir Bobby. Facebook user, Sir Bobby got time with the club and he was grateful. He paid that success. He gave everything to the club. And I think if he did not go to England, Ipswich would be having many titles as Man United, both. But he had to take England close to a World Cup final. Just an absolute true legend. And I always say a manager's personality comes across in his team, and Bobby was a gentleman, a nice guy, but he wanted to be the best. And every team you think of Bobby is exactly that. They're well drilled, they know their job, they want to be the best, and they're all there to do their job. And that's what Bobby was all about, doing your job and being good at it. And
I loved it. I remember when he said he's managed many fantastic teams in his time, bigger than Ipswich. He's gone on to do incredible things. But he says, when it comes down to it, my heart is always a bit of Ipswich. How lucky are we? How lucky are we to have someone of that calibre say that about us? And it's probably about 30% the reason I keep coming back, because you've just got to know that underneath the politics, the management, the structure, the players, the form, the league, Ipswich it's for us. It works on a deeper level. It's something here. We're arguing from up here, but the reason we come back is this right here. And I think Bobby was instrumental in that. And he will, in 100 years' time, he will still be spoken about if this club is still a thing.
Absolutely.
You know, when a man has touched your heart, that every time you go to the football stadium, you go, the first thing you do, if you're there, if you're any real, you go straight over to the statue and you go, thank you for this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You just, that says everything you need. You know, I mean, I were fortunate enough to grow up in the Alpha Ramsey years, and I know I've spoke to a few older fans than me who said, look, you know, he was another good manager. My era, you know, for success with Bobby Robson, having met him, having watched him, having watched many interviews with him, many ex-players when he passed away coming forward, Lineker, Gascoigne, all them, you know, all talking about him, even Shearer, and, you know, and they talk about him so highly. I've yet to meet a fan of any club that has a bad word to say against him.
No. And even Chris Martin says this. Norwich fans clapped when we chanted his name at Carrow Road. That's much of a natural legend he was. And his relationship with Gascoigne, something I've never seen before or since in the set, you know, a real sort of father-son relationship there that was just born out of love. Not this fake love either, where you as a manager trying to get the best out of his player and that was all he really wanted. It was just true love and true care, and it was just an amazing thing to see. And he was such a
he was a perfect combination of gentleman and manager. You know that old saying, some people are born into greatness, some people stumble into it, some people have it thrust upon them. He was all three. It was just a perfect amalgamation of the stars aligning and producing him.
And yet he was a good player, but he wasn't like the star of the show or anything like that. You know, very well disciplined player. You know, and that just says everything you need to know about, about the man. I miss him. I do.
Okay.
You know,
right. We will let Ben get to his chicken there. We are back live Saturday 2:30 for the match day ticket. So join us then. It is Coxie and myself and Amy Downs in the bringing you the game. So do join us. And to close, I just want to read you something that was obviously a very famous thing Sir Bobby said. Is what is a club in any case? Not the buildings, or the directors, or the people who are paid to represent it. It's not the television contracts, get out clauses, marketing departments, or executive boxes. It's the noise, the passion, the feeling of belonging. It's the pride in your city. Bobby, we love you. Thank you.